So once children figure out that words refer to things, that they are referential, they have to figure out what range of concepts, what sets of things words actually apply to, how to extend the meaning, right? So that you accurately describe the set of things that that word corresponds to. And this is actually not really easy. And there are two common types of errors that kids make. So one is underextension. So you use words in a narrower range. You don't use them to refer to everything that actually is an example of that word. So if we look at the case of the word kitty, you might use it to refer to these two, but not to this one, maybe because your concept of kitty is too narrow and you think it has to do with being white and furry, right? As opposed to having just, the properties that we as adults know make kittydom, which would include your black furry cat. The other sort of the opposite mistake is overextension, using words in a wider range. And this is more common where basically, for example, a child might use the word kitty to refer to legitimate instances of kitties, but also to bunnies, to cute little hamster gerbil-like things, to whatever the heck that thing is. It's very fuzzy and adorable. And not to this, because the fuzziness was really what the child actually associated with the word kitty. And so you can actually have overextension and underextension happening at the same time. So if the child refer to all these things as kitty, this would be overextension because actually only this one is a kitty. And then if they had not kitty, they would leave out our non-furry hairless cats. That would be a case of underextension because something that was a kitty was not included, was not referred to as kitty, right? So you have overextension and underextension happening because the idea is figuring out the extension, just the right extension for any given word, and that's not so easy to do. And, there are lots of different causes for these errors. So for underextension, the idea is maybe the kid is conservatively extending the hypothesis about what a word refers to, and they don't really get it all the way to all the things it ought to refer to. This is actually pretty correctable from experience with the word's usage by adults. If they learn that the hairless kitty is called a kitty, they'll be like, oh, I guess my concept of kitty needs to be extended to include the hairless kitty. And overextension, where they're extending it too far, this is likely to simply be because the child doesn't actually know the appropriate word and uses one that's known. So like that one animal from before where I didn't know what it was. Like for a kid, you might say, well, I know what that thing is. I'm just going to call it a kitty because as far as I know, it might as well be a kitty because it's fuzzy and I don't know, right? So because of this, overextensions tend to, but do not always, have some aspect of meaning in common, like fuzzy thing, right? And overextension can be corrected as children learn the appropriate words for meanings they want to express, and through probabilistic inference, for example, figure out that, in fact, the fuzzy thing was not a kitty, because kitties tend to have certain other properties that thing doesn't have, and etc. So overextension is a little harder to recover from, but both underextension and overextension are recovered from until you get exactly the right extension. So this is an example, again, just showing that overextension errors often have semantic features in common. So this is Hobbes saying, what are bats? Oh, they're bugs, aren't they? Put that down. Well, are you sure? They fly, right? They're ugly and hairy, right? Come on, this is taking all day, right? So fly, they're ugly and hairy, and that in Calvin's mind is bats and bugs together, and that's fine, and that's clearly a case of having some semantic features in common, at least in Calvin's mind. Some more overextension examples that come from actual children using, say, the word ball. And this child, for example, referred to a ball as a ball, which is great, but also a balloon, a marble, an apple, an egg, a wall pom-pom, a spherical water tank, and the common feature for these is really this roundish shape, right? It's like, okay, that's clearly the feature that the child has in mind, and she's just overextending it, right, to include all these things that we as adults have other words for that we know ball does not encompass. Now this one, I love this one. This is, you had the word cat referred to both the cat, which is fantastic, and also the cat's usual location on top of the TV, even when the cat was not there, right? So it's like, so we have the cat there right now, but the idea was that that spot would also be called cat by this child, right? And I keep jumping ahead, but the idea is that the common features, these are both associated with the cat, with that creature that sits there, both the creature itself and the place where it normally sits. So that's an overextension example. And then this is another one where you have moon, referring to the actual moon, a half-moon shaped lemon slice, a circular chrome dial on a dishwasher, a ball of spinach, a wall hanging with pink and purple circles, half a Cheerio, right? And all of those have like this sort of shape feature in common, especially because we know the moon changes it from being a crescent to a full ball, right? So you have both the circular and the crescent things being associated with moon and being called moon by this child. And then she also called a hangnail, right? This little thing down here, right? That little thing that hangs off your finger sometimes, as a moon, and that looks nothing like a circular or roundish shape. So that's probably an issue. She like didn't know what to call that thing, and just moon maybe was sort of frequent in her mind from recent use, and she just said, I don't know, it's a moon. It's a problem retrieving the right word, or maybe she didn't even have the word. So again, these are ways that you can get overextension occurring, again, often because they have a feature in common.